Assalamu alaikum everyone and welcome to Future Fest Extended. Today we're going to be having conversations with a person who can tell you the most about Web 3.0, a topic that you've all been very interested in for the past few months. We have with us Ahmed Hamdhan. Hello Ahmed and thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me, Fatima.
Ahmed, we're going to be starting off by your introduction. We would like to know more about you. What do you do? What's your journey? Tell us a bit about yourself.
My name is Ahmed Hamdhan. I've basically moved from finance to technology, from legal finance and technology into technology. Right? My ambition is to be able to solve business problems using technology. So that journey has taken me from trading commodities and currencies to solving smaller problems to working with open source solutions and promoting open source. Then it took me to Microsoft, where I worked with the gaming framework, then built the cloud infrastructure for Microsoft, and then took an early retirement from the corporate world to do stuff in the decentralized world and Web3.
That's amazing. Mashallah, your portfolio is very huge. And for someone like me, you're an inspiration, and I only wish to be like you one day. So tell us a bit about your work at Decrypted Solutions, the company that you're working with right now. Tell us a bit about your job and what is your normal day at work.
Thank you. I mean, you got to aspire to be bigger and greater than myself. I mean, we all have ambitions and we reach a certain cap, right? We learn from people and we need to be able to leapfrog and get stronger, bigger, better. So I wish you the best and I wish you success in growing bigger than I am. Right? Now, what do we do at Decrypted? At Decrypted, what we are is what we call a solutioning firm. We help you transform from one technology to the next, right? So we help you move from one technology to the next, help you understand how to do it, help you understand the steps you need to take, right? So we're typically advisors or consultants, and what we will do is we will bring in the right people, the right companies, the right vendors to solve your problem. So we're transition experts, in essence, right? So we're helping people move from the Web 2 to Web 3, and we'll talk about that later. So our typical roles or functions are advisory, consulting, technology integration, and helping partners put together proposals for investor decks as well.
Okay, that's amazing. My next question is going to be one of the most asked questions and something that a lot of people are wondering about, but no one can really figure out. But you're the expert yourself. So give me your definition or description of Web 3.0. What is it?
So I'm not an expert, I'm learning as well. And at the same time, the world is learning as well what is Web 3.0. We started with Web 1, right? And the definition of that is it was static, where some organizations, institutions had a lot of knowledge. They put that knowledge together and made it available as a library for others to read, right? So it was read and write only. Then we moved towards Web 2, right? Web 2 is what we have today that we know of, right? Where a lot of data is available, data marts, data lakes, whatever you want to call it, right? And some smaller companies put data together, larger ones did as well, and they became centralized. All the centralizing of data is hoarded by different people, and facts may or may not be known. It may be, I mean, there are people that put in real data, people that created false data, accuracy validation wasn't there. So we were challenged, right? And into that came e-commerce, into that came interaction like we're doing right now. So it evolved to have many things, but pretty much static or pretty much centralized, right? Now, Web 3 is a new variant where everybody is struggling and saying, hey, how do we bring things that we intend to, right? So our dreams or our aspirations from the real, that we have, we're trying to project that and create a connection between what we have and what we want to have, right? So with the virtual world, in essence, You're going to be able to do things that you really didn't weren't able to do in Web 2. Things that we saw in some sci-fi movies, right, would become possible. In terms of, I'm not talking about teletransport and whatnot, but I'm talking about things like, virtualization, right? Being able to participate in a virtual world, being able to see something, around us, holograms, things like that.
Okay, perfect. I hope this is going to be very helpful for people who are going to be watching this video. Moving on to my next question. How do you see Web 3.0 world looking like in the future?
So I see very different. Like, I mean, today we go to a store, for example, right? We go to a store, we look at stuff, and we say, I might say, hey, I want to try out this coffee, right? Like, we have 10 brands of coffee in the store in the aisle. I don't know which one I want. How can somebody help me choose? We can take an app and we can say, hey, does it have the right attributes I'm looking for? There's comparison information available. There's reviews that we have, right? There's consumer information, there's product information, there's brand information available. We can see that, right, using our cell phone right now. In the future, what we'll be able to do is do the same thing plus more, right? Now, in some stores, you probably notice that there are people that give you product information, right? Now, that's getting expensive to keep a person for every type of product. Now, if you go into a virtual store, right, and you can see the same things in the aisles on your screen, and you can pick something, you could probably interact with a virtual assistant that's going to share the product attributes or give you an infomercial if you choose. You don't want to interact with somebody, you want to just see a video. You can see a non-interactive video. You could dive deeper and look at the ingredients to see if you have any allergies or something that, if it has something that you like. So it'll be a lot more immersive, a lot more options available, and a lot more detailed. But the most important thing is it's immersive. You can be wearing a seat on your screen or have a device, like Oculus or something, and experience it. Right? So it could be for a washing detergent, it could be for a coffee, it could be for a brand of tea, it could be for a brand of clothing. Similarly, like with clothing, right? If you have your dimensions and stuff, you go to a store, they can actually the camera can visualize and understand your sizings and stuff, right? Dimensions. And the product dimensions are also available. You might be able to put something on and virtually see it on yourself and decide, do I want this or do I not? As it improves, right? How it drapes, how it falls, how it flows if there's wind blowing, you'll be able to see that as well. So these are all real-time immersive experiences you can experience in the virtual world. So it's not just a dream thing. It's like, being able to say, hey, how would I look in this outfit, right? So it allows merchandisers to be able to put the product in front of you and you'll be able to virtually experience it and decide if you want to take it. In
Wow.
today's world, you can only see it two-dimensionally, right?
Yeah.
Now let's take a car, for example. If you're into cars, you could say, okay, you have a certain car and you have certain wheels, right? And you want to be able to see, hey, are these new wheels going to look good on my car? Right? So you're able to put them on and have a look at it, turn them around, right?
Wow.
And visualize it without having to imagine. That's just the basic concept.
I think it's going to enable us to make very informed decisions, and
Exactly.
it's going to be very fascinating to experience it. So,
It's also going to push e-commerce more. Instead of going to stores, you'll be a lot more comfortable buying something online because you're able to see it in 3 dimensions.
true.
Obviously, today we don't have the sense of smell available on, in technology. We're not able to touch and feel, right? Like those things are not going to be available yet, but it's evolving.
Hmm. I think we can maybe see it down the line a few decades, and we might have that too.
Perhaps, yeah.
Yeah. So that leads me to my next question, which links up to everything that you just told us. How do you see Web 3.0 linking to AR, VR, or metaverse?
So so AR is augmented reality, where you have stuff let's start with VR. The VR is virtual reality, where things are completely virtual, right? And it's just imagination and digital. Bringing digital into our space, like holograms, right, is the AR world. How can we bridge the two? All right, let's take, for example, you're a surgeon looking to be able to perform surgery on somebody's foot, right? Let's assume something has happened and you're looking to perform surgery on the foot. Now, if you take an MRI and it's three-dimensional, you can see all the capillaries and the veins and the arteries and the nerves and stuff along the foot. Right? You can decide. You can take that image, overlay it on a person on the real person's thing, foot, and decide how you're going to make your cuts. What are you going to do? How are you going to navigate through this mesh of stuff inside? You can look at it in 3 dimensions. Right? So you can do surgery planning. Now, as you're doing surgery and performing surgery, you can have an Oculus or one eye where you can see certain things that are happening live through IoT devices that have been put inside or going through different areas of different views from different sides, right? Now you're able to make better and informed decisions. So
Okay.
this is where it'll help.
Okay, perfect. All of this is very interesting, and listening to you makes me want to go onto the internet and research more right now. But I'm gonna move on with my next question. You said you guys, what you do at Decrypted Solutions is you help companies transition from Web 3 2.0 to 3.0. So, what are the most interesting cases or companies that you've seen in Web 3.0 or the startups you've helped?
So it's not really startups. These are high budget projects, and many of them that we have locally. They're actually building stuff for companies or individuals that have much larger budgets and have a grand vision, right? So these are pieces of the puzzle. Now let's take, for example, if you were to like major retailer in the US, right? They're looking to be able to create a I'm not going to name names right now, but I'll give you a visualization, right? Because of NDAs and stuff in place. Now, they want to be able to sell their merchandise more effectively, right? What they're looking to be able to do is to be able to shelf manage in a virtual world. They want to replicate a real store experience in the virtual world so that they can transform their customers from coming into the store to buying things online. So there's a whole walkthrough that they're building where a person can go and experience the same thing they would experience in the store, so there's no difference. But at the same time, get more information about the product, get more information about more details about the product. There may be visuals, videos, allergy information, etc. Right? So the vendor or the supplier or the brand manager for that product is able to put a lot more information so the consumer can make an informed decision. Right? So that's one. And then you can have it dropped off at your home or delivered at a time convenient to you or somewhere else or for somebody else, right? That logistical mechanism already exists, but it's about the purchasing
Yeah.
experience, right? So they want to improve the purchasing experience and transform more people from online stores or from real stores to online and be able to experience what they have. The story behind the product can be told. There's another one
Okay, I think.
where we're doing we're helping somebody put together gaming, right? And people to be able to come in and immersively participate in games, create art, and make those art available for others to consume and use, right? So you'll be able to not just sit and play a game using a controller, but you can move around with the game, right? So let's take, for example, skiing, right? Or rollerblading. You could experience rollerblading and skiing just like you really were by having an Oculus on.
Wow. Okay. That really puts things into perspective, and I just can't stop to think about the amount of cost that is going to be reduced by the first use case you just described. Because if everything is online, that's going to streamline a lot of things. So there might be, as there are a lot of opportunities in Web 3.0, but there are also some challenges. So can you shed some light about the opportunities and challenges faced by the companies that you guys help?
Sure. Many the opportunities and challenges are limited by our imagination, right? And they're both limited by imagination because we only know what we know, and we do things based on what we've seen or have experienced or want to do. We need to bring in people who have a grander imagination, who dream, right? And I say you have to dare to dream, right? And not and say, hey, I can do this better, faster, cheaper, more efficient than the other. That's not the only thing. But can I do it a lot more robust? Can I explore an experience, right? If you want to get your hair done, for instance, right? Like, how would you want to do it? Before you cut your hair, before you lay your hair, if you can see some of that stuff happen and see some of that stuff virtually and see how it flows or drapes or whatever, you'll be able to make an effective decision. Right? So if you look at clothing experts, right? Like if you want to, before you manufacture a product or a dress or a shirt or a jacket or an outfit, if you understand how the material is going to, or the fabric is going to drape, you can make your choices differently, right? I mean, right now you have jackets and stuff where people have cloth, fabric, and leather combined products, right? How they drape are going to be very different. How it's cut, which format do you want to use, right? Like how you fold it and stuff are going to make a big difference. Now, if you can virtually experience that before you do the cuts and whatnot, right? It's going to cost you less. So you have to have not just mill owners, but business people and solution people understand what the possibilities are. Think, dream, right? And then give those problems to product developers and say, hey, here's a problem I want to solve. Can you solve it? If they can solve it, great. If not, it needs to go into R&D facilities, or research needs to be done at university levels to be able to say, hey, how can we solve this problem and make sure it gets incorporated into development so that somebody else can solve this, produce a solution for it.
Okay. As you said that the businesses are evolving, and the challenges are mostly because of our imagination and what we have experienced. What do you think of the type of businesses that are going to be thriving in Web3, and what businesses do you think will flatter or not thrive?
So I think businesses that are going to be pushing stuff online, right, are going to thrive because in the consumer space, many of these people want to see, do, experience before they buy, right? And I mean, products are all about our experiences, right? Now, I think those products will probably thrive a lot more than some B2B stuff. Right? Business, like if I'm selling raw materials or something, I don't know if that's going to produce better impact or even make a change, right? Because they're just raw materials. For a designer, it might make a difference, but for a consumer, it doesn't. Right? So this is not for everybody, right? There are certain privacy concerns as well, right? Like if you go to say, hey, I want to do like telemedicine, for instance, right? Some aspects of telemedicine can be done online and using Web3 experiences. However, not everything can be, right? So pre-op, post-op events can be done, but the operation itself has to be done on site, right?
Yeah.
So it's gonna open up a lot more opportunities for many people, right? To dream, and it's going to transform some of the businesses as well, and the job opportunities that are going to be available. I mean, think about it. Like if you had to go to a doctor, right, and you live further away from a facility where you can have treatment, right? Most of the pre-op stuff, right, can be done using telemedicine. Then you come to the venue. you travel to the venue, you get your surgery or treatment or whatever done, and post-treatment, you can go back and do telemedicine. The doctor can perform telemedicine, reducing your costs of travel, right? Making the serviceability for the doctor to be able to service people so far away. Right? So we're solving many problems, and as it's your imagination that's going to prevent you from growing.
Makes sense.
So I think the opportunities are a lot more. We just need to learn how to use it.
Okay.
Where it makes sense.
Okay. Thank you, Ahmed. My next question is one of the most one of the most questions that people are excited about. Our audience usually is waiting for this question. So we have a lot of young entrepreneurs who follow us, and we have a lot of people who are looking to start businesses or are in the industry and are looking to transition to Web 3.0. So what would you advise them, and what would your learnings that you've learned over the past years in your work, what would you tell them to avoid or to do for sure?
So one piece of advice is dare to dream. Right? You've got to dare to dream, and say, hey, you have to be ambitious and try to do things. So there are many people that are going to stop you and prevent you, or be negative nannies and say, hey, this can't be done. It has never been done. Just because it hasn't been done, has never been done, does not mean that you shouldn't explore, take an adventure, and say, hey, let me give it a shot. Right? You gotta give it a try. Now, that doesn't mean that there's no age barrier to giving it a try. It's our experiences that prevent us from moving forward or doing something, right? Sometimes it's our failures in the past that prevent us from even trying to do something in the future. We got to let our experiences we got to let our experiences not we got to ensure that our experiences that we've had don't prevent us from moving forward.
True.
We dare to dream is the most important thing.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ahmed. This discussion has been very enlightening for me, and I'm pretty sure that the people who are going to be watching this are going to learn a lot from you. Thank you for your time, and we're very pleased to have you here.
Thanks, Fatima, and thanks for Ejad Labs for setting something up. I actually appreciate the fact that you guys have taken the stance to be able to educate people, and creating these videos, right? If there's anything I can do to help yourself or the team, right, evangelize this, I'm there for you guys. But
Thank you so
you're
much.
doing a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.